Hi there, welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, these are the Ajax Diaries. It's my chance to do a development save, and you see it. Yep, it's over there. We lost, finally. I'm so excited that we lost. But in all honesty, I deserve to lose. If you want to play the game, play the game. If you want to be on the phone, be on the phone. Try not to do both things at the same time. I hope that both can work out very well, because it did not. I was like an idiot, so I lost the game. In fact, I was actually talking to someone and saying, if you do this, if you do that, this happens, and yeah, guess what? It actually happened in my game. So I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but let's just say it screwed up. Last couple of shows I've been talking about the low block, right? And I hope it's come in handy for you. Let me know how your low blocks work out, whether you do any slight modifications to the block. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. I'm sure there are other players who play blocks in different ways. One thing you need to understand is the computer itself, the AI itself, has got a high, medium, and low block. Hey, little known fact. Okay, so what happens in this game is I'm going to go into the next game trying a high block. Now, high blocks are very different from low blocks. High blocks are suicidal kamikaze missions into the opponent's half. You throw everything at them, you close them down, and you do your best not to let them out. So much so that you don't create any good chances on goal because they never get a chance to come out. That's a high block. Yeah, it's crazy because if you play a high block really well, what's going to happen is, and I've done this many times, it did in FM17, 16, 15, I've done high blocks for a lot of editions. If you get a high block working very, very well, the biggest problem you're going to have is how the heck do you score? Because you're in their half, you're camping there, you can't afford to lose the ball because everybody's there. And if one ball goes over the top, you're so screwed. So you need players in the final third who've got first touch, composure, decisions, all those attributes that you need a player to have before they lose, so they don't lose the ball. And the other thing is you gotta take your chances. You gotta make them count, and you gotta move the team around. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a high block here. Essentially, a high block is high defensive line, close down more, tackle harder, and tight marking for these guys. I also have them on this little chap over here, who is my DL, my Mazzala. That got Wender Big as a ball-winning midfielder, which is really asking for trouble because he's not really a ball-winning midfielder. So let me see if I can get Carell. No, Carell is not a ball-winning midfielder. Simeon Pasa, yeah, maybe. Okay, we'll get Simeon Pasa into this game. I'm going to push Ziyech here. And I'm going to ask the Wender Big to come here because Clivert is not 100%. So this is my team. Now, we have injuries to some of my players, which is the reason why there's a very famous name. One of my players is not available. He will not be playing in defense. Okay, what about the back line in the high block? Close on less, ease off tackles. You don't. You want to remove tackle harder as well on your back line. So you want them tracking back instead of staying in the opponent's. The downside of playing a high block. In the low block, you have them attacking you for 90 minutes. So here, okay, I've got my first problem. My tactic is built to attack centrally, but they already got a DM there, so we may not get a lot of chances in this game. My bad. We're gonna get a lot of chances in this game, but they won't be good ones. All right, so Reza to Thurn to Salomonson to Zanel. So the high block actually starts somewhere around here if you have the ball or they're working and you're already in the opponent's half. The idea for my backline is for them not to overcommit. So you can see my fullback is just hanging about. Then he comes in. That's how you play the high block. Okay, in your own half. Because you don't want your players to be crazy about closing down. So you don't close down much more on everybody. Because people seem to think, there's so much bad advice out there. If you need to play the high block, you have to use the close down much more team instruction. No, that's moronic. Because if you do that, everybody plays like an idiot. So I don't like doing that. So what I do instead is I tell the front guys to close down much more, which is what we want with the high block. But we tell the back guys to be a bit more smarter when they don't have the ball. Ideally, when you have a high block, you're also going to generate lots of possession. But at the moment, the game has been played pretty well by Heerenveen from the start. And we're going to try and play a combination of a low block and a high block in this game. David Neres with the ball, gets away, gets it to Dolberg. Dolberg, not very good, Dolberg. What are you? He's a poacher. Fine, but that shouldn't have happened. Oruwela to Christique. Oruwela back to Verheerder. Lines up a shot from outside the box. I wonder if I play out a defense, please. Thank you very much. Verheerder to Ziyech. Back to Verheerder. To Van der Beek. Van der Beek to David Neres. To Christique. Back to Van der Beek. Van der Beek out wide, it goes to David Neres. Works it back to Van der Beek. Van der Beek to Christique. Now to Ziyech. Okay, this is what I mean by a high block. You're in the opponent's half. They can't clear the ball. You have enough players pressing and loosely controlling space so that you are controlling zones, right? So that when you put a pressure on the opponent, when they clear the ball, it comes back to you because your players are positioned pretty high up the pitch. Okay, that's a good win. Dolberg, Shahs does well. We're going to have to do something. That defensive midfielder is being a right royal. Dolberg closing down the keeper. Verheerder under pressure. Gives up the ball. Here we go. Hurt. Another time the keeper under a lot of pressure there. This is the high block in action. David Neres into the box. Dolberg strikes the upright. Verheerder to Christique, back to Verheerder. To Van der Beek, to Ziyech. Brilliant block by the defenders. Denying our Dolberg a chance to get into the box. Ziyech, Verheerder, back to Ziyech, back to Van der Beek, to Pasa, to Christique. Christique back to Pasa, Pasa back to Christique. Christique out to David Neres. What can he do? He goes wide. There's good play. Into the box. Dolberg hits it backwards. Ziyech with a great goal. I don't care about the gap between my defensive line and my midfield. That's it's working brilliantly. So I don't really care about all the information at the moment. David Neres, this is good football from the boys. He hits it and there goal. Dolberg. What? All right, we've taken the lead. Now guess what I'm going to do? I've got my low block here waiting. So we got, when we were playing it the same way, control structured, but now I'm going to do pass into space and still play out a defense with a slightly deep defensive line. And there we go. So we're going to drop our defensive line. Now closing down is different. Now the closing down is going to be harder on the back line. Now we play with a low block. Van Amersfoort to turn. The defender with this little schmuck was in the wrong spot. Good. So now the boys are just gonna see out that that 1-0 lead that we have. Oruwela to David Neres. David Neres out. He goes to Van der Beek. Van der Beek to Ziyech. Ziyech to Verber. Verber to Van der Beek. Van der Beek over the top. Han. He is not supposed to close the... I just saw Mr. Dolberg do something he's not supposed to do. It's alright. He went to close down the keeper. David Neres out to Dolberg. Dolberg holds the ball, gets into the box, shoots at Han. So sorry, he doesn't have close down more. This guy's got tackle harder. This guy has got few risky passes. And then we got this guy. Here, I'm going to take this guy off being a defensive centre back. It's just going to be a central defender on defense. And yeah, we'll just play the ball out of defense. Here, he has a close down more, tackle harder. This guy's got tackle harder, and this guy is the same. Alrighty. So, and I've gotten this wing back to sit narrower as well. So be like, he's going to end up being like a... If the ball comes in from the opposite flank, then he tucks inside and becomes like a quasi-central defender as well. Alright, why don't we switch over to the high block for a while? Get back to playing what I... Can you play a normal... can you play like a high block that's a bit... a normal defensive line? You probably can. Definitely you can do that. So this is what I'm going to do now. But it's a... You gotta be very careful about where they close down, right? So we're playing okay, roam from positions. I will actually spend a lot of time noting where we try to win the ball, because if I'm not trying to win the ball in the opponent's half, then I'll change it. I'll change it immediately. Then I'll probably change these closing down settings for the back guys and just put them on default. But at the moment, we seem to be doing okay. The whole goal of the close down is balancing the closing down instructions of the front with the guys at the back. That's essentially the way to do things here. So we still have a high block. Oh yes, that's the reason why, because I never changed my opposition instructions in my low block. So far so good. Alright, we got a big match against Benfica coming up, so we're going to give players a break. Veltman will come off. We shall bring Aberkane for Veltman. Then we're going to take Dolberg off and bring on Shearhouse. And these are the first two substitutions. We'll remove all our opposition instructions. Salomonson with the ball. Berber to Aberkane to Oruela. Okay, hell, I want to hit it from the back. Defensive centre back. Just seems so wrong if I'm not taking advantage. Look at the space. Look at the space I have. The guy should just kick it long. Oruela with the ball, but we are keeping the ball. This is low block without trying to counter attack a team. We're tiki-takaing away into the opponent's half. Oh, what a goal from our low block. Worked from the back and we score a second goal. They tiki-taka their way all the way into the opponent's half. I mean, I don't know if you call this tiki-taka or not, but Van der Beek, what a ball from Van der Beek to Shearhouse. Shearhouse takes it down and passes it to Neres. Neres literally just walks there into the goal. Second goal is nice. Now, this is one way you can play the game, right? So you have a high block and a low block, and you use them interchangeably in your game. But you need to understand the elements of what goes into the high block and what goes into the low block. It's easy. Then you don't have to really change. You don't change your roles and duties in your tactic, right? You may not even have to change shape. Here, then you're just applying pressure judiciously. Where do you want to apply pressure in the game? So now we just sat back, that's it. The boys are back in their shell. It's the way I want to win the Champions League this year. That's it. The boys have done pretty well. It's a total and absolute domination of Heerenveen. In terms of analysis and match, if I'm looking at the shots here, because I'm always looking at this is the most important thing for me, right? So this one is very important for me because we only really had 2 good shots at goal. So you can see the problems with playing with the high block. This is when we use the high block, I think sometime in the first half. You see, you don't get a lot of good chances inside the box. When we switched, I think we switched to low block for a while, then we went back to the high block. You got to be very, very careful. I'm not too thrilled with the quality of chances that we created. I believe in having a higher SOT count for my tactics. So my tactics typically have to have a high SOT count. So I need something like... if a tactic doesn't give me 60% SOT or 70% SOT, I'm not very happy. So I usually target between... I need 60% SOT for most of my tactics. Then I will consider that to be a decent tactic, or good tactic rather, for my team, because then my team is doing well. But most of the time, what I'm actually doing is I'm tweaking as I go. So now for our next match, we're going to be playing Benfica away from home, and we're hoping that this high block, low block strategy works for the match against Benfica. Okay, we might see the downside of the high block in this next game, because the danger of the high block is against good teams or decent teams, like Benfica. Benfica are a decent team. The high block can backfire. Why? Because you're playing so high up the pitch. They play a 2-striker combination like what they're doing here, and they're playing with a target man as well. If your boys are not paying attention, what's going to happen is you could end up losing the game. Christic to Veltman, Veltman to Oruela, Oruela to Pasa. Let's see this. Pass into space. Play out of defense, boys. Christic to Ziyech. Ziyech to Pasa. Pasa goes backwards. Look at these statues in the middle. Christic to Van der Beek back to Christique, to Pasa, Ziyech, they hold David Neres, Van der Beek inside the box. It's a penalty. The movement of the boys has caused some confusion in the ranks of the Benfica boys. Dolberg, penalty. Oh, Dolberg misses the penalty. Onana should have taken the bloody penalty. Damn shit. Dolberg, what is it? Oh no, Van der Beek has got an injury. Twisted knee. We'll have to take him off. I don't like twisted knees. Twisted knees can end up being very serious problems. Okay, so we're going to take off Van der Beek and put on the one and only Lasse Schöne. Okay, we're going to remove the exploit, the middle shout, and not influence the way we move the ball with the wing backs. Come on. This is the thing about high blocks. You can end up doing this. You could be dominating a match with 70 to 80% possession, but you don't want to be scoring unless your boys are able to move them around. Okay. Alrighty, we're gonna make one role change. I don't want to make role changes. We should be fine. Because there's a lot of movement in my tactic already. Christique to Ziyech, Ziyech to Dolberg, Dolberg back to Pasa, Pasa to Ziyech. Ziyech drives and takes a shot. Well, results-wise, I'm not too happy with how we're playing. Okay, Hassan to Pizzi, Pizzi to Almeida, Pasa to David Neres. Oh. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to tell David Neres to be a winger. Because he might be running right into that pack. Ziyech to Pasa. Pasa shoots, forcing the keeper into a save. I mean, I was about to take you off. Justin Kluivert. Kasper Dolberg is just going from bad to worse. Alright, we'll take Dolberg off. Dolberg is having a terrible game. Sharehouse will come on. That one penalty miss. I just one of the reasons why I don't like giving strikers penalties. If they miss it, their ratings go down like a rock. Ziyech, Christique, Ziyech back to Christique, now to Veltman. Kluivert inside the box. Oh man, come on. How many chances do we have to miss? Schöne with the free kick. Over the top. Defensively, we're not doing too badly. Right? But we're just not putting enough pressure on the opposition's goal. I mean, we are putting a lot of pressure. What am I saying? We're just not finishing our chances. Ziyech to Schöne to Shearhouse to Kluivert. Kluivert inside the box. Yes, finally. The magical insertion of Justin Kluivert has given us the goal that we were desperately searching for. Now, finally, I can come off the monstrous high block. Clear. Okay. Let's go to the low block, boys. Thank you. Let's play. So now we're going to come off the high block. The pressure is over. I don't want any more players to be injured. David Neres is already injured. Zuki to Puzzi. Straight to the keeper, where he ever puts it out to touch. Well, this is the high block and the low block. The high block's weakness, you gotta be very, very careful when the balls are played over the top, especially when you're playing against two striker systems. Well, Ajax have done okay. I mean, this is the other thing about the high block as well. You're gonna have to think about, when you're parked in the opponent's half, whether you have the right roles and duties in the final third. I don't think we have the right ones anyway. I think maybe I should have used a complete forward, but my players, some of them, I'm not too sure about it. Then I had to change the inside forward to winger, so he starts off a bit wider now. So that was good. Justin Kluivert cut inside and managed to get us our goal. And Ajax have beaten Benfica and done enough. So that's basically how I played a high block and the low block. Let's find out how long Neres is injured. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Neres is out for a while. So bad news for us. Neres is out for 5 to 6 weeks, and why are they unhappy about the penalty decision? We didn't even score. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Ajax Diaries. It was a different way of doing the show. We did a high block and low block. I tried to mix things up and show you how I use both. Once again, to reiterate, high block is really simple. Close down, much more tight marking. Tackle out with the front guys here. You could, to some extent, do it with the flank, but here I gone with roles like ball-winning midfielder because there's a wing back here. At the back, you want close down much less, and ease off tackles. Yes, ease off tackles. Please ease off tackles. Okay, high block, chances are, if you tackle hard, you're going to be a yellow card. So I don't want to give up yellow cards too soon. So with a high block, that's what's going to happen. With a low block, is the exact opposite. You just you tackle harder, sit narrower. Tackle harder. And if you can tight mark, but if you can't, then it's just close down more and tackle harder. Close down more, tackle harder on the back line. And if you do tackle harder on this, if you're not using another role here that's tackling harder. We have a ball-winning midfielder here who's tackling harder, and we got a Mazzala here who's tackling harder. So I decided to tell Christique, hell man, you don't. Okay, if not, we'll have 3 fellas running around. And in the final third, you don't do anything here. The most important thing about this is not to use prevent shot goalkeeper distribution and your opposition instructions. You do not want to use opposition instructions and close down more here. So with the high block, you use opposition instructions to close down the back line and the DM. So we've done okay. We've come out of this match, but bruised and battered with the injury to David Neres, which is a bit of a disappointment, which means that Justin Kluivert, I'm going to have to remove his availability to the B squad and make sure that he does not play there with them anymore, because now he has to play with the main team. So, and Donny van de Beek is injured, so Donny van de Beek's position actually will fall to Schöne or CM de Jong gets a chance to play. And we've got a few players who now can, for the next game, we'll have quite a lot of youngsters that we can try out. I also have to, Waclav Cherney is a big miss for us. Well, I hope you found this show useful. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can always find me on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. I try to answer as many questions as I can. The missus is expecting the baby should pop up out of the oven very soon, so I might disappear for a while. But there are shows to keep you occupied while I'm gone. So once again, I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in and my patrons for making this kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care, have a good one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.